Did you just get a math test back and thought, I wish this could have gone better? Totally normal. I've had those moments many a times over. And what we don't do in a math classroom is spend time teaching students on how to not just correct their math test, but how to reflect and analyze on the math test they just have so they can take the next steps to make that next math test even better. If you're new to this channel, my name is Danielle. I'm a high school math teacher for over 18 years. And on this channel, I love to share strategies on how to make learning math so much easier on you. Plus, I like to share videos on math itself so kids in high school specifically can have help outside the math classroom if they need it. So if you're a math high school student, definitely hit subscribe down below so that way you can get updated on when my new videos are released. So in my actual class, I train my students after I give back their first test on how to analyze it. And I have a gap system. I actually teach this in my Power Up math test mini course. I have a full lesson on it. And I share a document that explains there are 9 gaps that you could have, experienced on your math test. And I train my students on how to look for them. And for every gap, I give them what their next steps are. So tangible strategies and ways for them to move forward. So that next math test is a refrigerator-worthy test. Now, before we dive into the test, we have to understand how math is learned. And this is my P-cubed methodology. And you may have seen this on my website or on my YouTube channel, but basically I look at math and learning math in layers. The first one is through content. The second is through homework. And content, I mean the actual math theory, the numbers. Then there's homework, and then there's testing. Now, all of these work in tandem with one another. As you're learning the math, you're learning to get better at digesting it and absorbing it. And you're doing your homework and you're trying to pick up on strategies and ways to work through that homework a lot better. Then you're learning on how to test as a math student. And so these 3 layers lead you to wanting to work towards your math sweet spot. And I have a course or courses for every layer. So I have my Power Up prep courses that deal with the content and preparing you for your math class. I have the homework. So it's a mini course on teaching you how to do your math homework right. And then I have my Power Up math test course. It's a mini course as well. And it teaches you how to study for your math test like an elite math student. The same way med students or pre-med students who want to get into med school are training to take that MCAT. There are courses that teach them that. I do this for math students. All right, let's look at 3 of the top strategies out of the 9 that are good to use when getting your math test back. The first one is speed. And you're probably thinking, what do I mean by that? When you took your last math test, did you finish it, the entire thing? If not, there's one obvious solution. We have to make sure you're doing all of your homework, every single question. Unfortunately, there's no way around it. I can promise you, I can bet you a level D that if you are doing all of your homework, that is going to directly correlate to how you do on a math test. Now, if you're still doing that and not getting through the test, you want to work on mathmerizing your lessons and your homework. What does that mean? If you're learning about factoring or there's a special formula you need to know it off by heart, when to use it, and why you're using it. That's mathmerizing. I know people say that memorizing in math doesn't work, but I don't believe in that. I got by quite a bit by memorizing the questions, what they were asking me to do, and the steps to doing them. Then you might also want to consider, this shouldn't actually be an option. I think this is a must-do strategy. When you're studying, you need to redo your homework. A lot of students will just read through things, and that's not enough. Putting it into practice is what's going to solidify it and allow you to perform faster on your tests. Okay, strategy number 2, assess the level of difficulty. When you went through that test, did all the questions feel familiar enough? On a scale from 1 to 10, did everything feel like, yes, this is what I learned? Now, if 80% or more of the math felt like new math to you, then again, we just have to go back to the homework and practice and review. If 80% or more felt familiar, then you're doing things right. It just might be nerves on the test. And I cover this in my mini course. I teach students about performance anxiety and how to overcome it. And it's funny because when we're in a test-like situation, a high-pressure situation, nerves really do get the best of us, and our smart brain starts to shut down, whether we realize it or not. So subconsciously, we start to underperform. All right, strategy number 3, silly mistakes. Were a lot of your marks lost because of silly mistakes? My hand is up right now. I know you can't see that, but my hand is up right now. So if that's the case, you want to use your homework as training time. In your homework, you want to pretend you're in test mode. That means you want to watch your every move. And that takes me to my next point, number 3, using the out loud method. I have a video on this, and what it'll explain to you, if it's not out on the channel already, it's coming up. It's also in my Power Up homework mini course. I explain how to use this out loud method in detail. So that way you're slowing your brain down and you're processing and catching silly mistakes in action. Okay. So just talk yourself through the questions and your every move. So did that make sense to you? Does that make you feel like you have something to work towards on your next math test? I hope so. If you have any questions, be sure to drop them down in the comments below. And if you are interested in my Power Up math test mini course, I'll leave the link down below. And I also have a free guide. It's basically the first 5 steps I share with my class every semester on how to make math zen. And it is the foundation that leads them to having better tests for themselves. I'll see you in the next video.